A bombsight is a device used by military aircraft to drop bombs accurately. Bombsights, a feature of combat aircraft since World War I, were first found on purpose-designed bomber aircraft and then moved to fighter bombers and modern tactical aircraft as those aircraft took up the brunt of the bombing role. A bombsight has to estimate the path the bomb will take after release from the aircraft. The two primary forces during its fall are gravity and air drag, which make the path of the bomb through the air roughly parabolic. There are additional factors such as changes in air density and wind that may be considered, but they are concerns only for bombs that spend a significant portion of a minute falling through the air. Those effects can be minimized by reducing the fall time by low-level bombing or by increasing the speed of the bombs. Those effects are combined in the dive bomber. However, low-level bombing also increases the danger to the bomber from ground-based defenses, so accurate bombing from higher altitudes has always been desired. That has led to a series of increasingly sophisticated bombsight designs dedicated to high-altitude level bombing. In the 1930s, mechanical computers with the performance needed to solve the equations of motion started to be incorporated into the new tachymetric bombsights, the most famous of which is the Norden. The Norden bombsight that was used by the United States Army Air Forces and the United States Navy during World War II, and even by the United States Air Force in the Korean and the Vietnam Wars. It was an early tachymetric design that directly measured the aircraft's ground speed and direction, which older bombsights could only estimate with lengthy manual procedures. The Norden further improved on older designs by using an analog computer that continuously recalculated the bomb's impact point based on changing flight conditions, and an autopilot that reacted quickly and accurately to changes in the wind or other effects. Together, these features promised unprecedented accuracy for daytime bombing from high altitudes. During pre-war testing, the Norden demonstrated a circular error probable of 23 meters, an astonishing performance for that period. This precision would enable direct attacks on ships, factories, and other point targets. Both the Navy and the USAF saw it as a means to conduct successful high-altitude bombing. For example, an invasion fleet could be destroyed long before it could reach U.S. shores. To protect these advantages, the Norden was granted the utmost secrecy well into the war, and was part of a production effort on a similar scale to the Manhattan Project. The overall cost was $1.1 billion. However, the Norden was not as secret as believed. In spite of the security precautions, the entire Norden system had been passed to the Germans before the war started. Hermann Lang, a German spy, had been employed by the Carl Norden Company. During a visit to Germany in 1938, Lang conferred with German military authorities and reconstructed plans of the confidential materials from memory. In 1941, Lang, along with the 32 other German agents, was arrested by the FBI and convicted in the largest espionage prosecution in U.S. history. He received a sentence of 18 years in prison on espionage charges and a 2-year concurrent sentence under the Foreign Agents Registration Act. German instruments were fairly similar to the Norden, even before World War II. A similar set of gyroscopes provided a stabilized platform for the bombardier to sight through, although the complex interaction between the bombsight and autopilot was not used. During the war, a Luftwaffe bomber crew operated as a team. Each member was mutually dependent on the others, and each had a vital part to play in ensuring that the aircraft reached its target, dropped its bombs, and safely returned to base. The crew all shared the same experiences and dangers. It is a little-known fact, but actually each German bomber aircraft had 2 pilots. An observer or navigator also acted as bomb aimer. The navigator was responsible for keeping the aircraft on course at all times, reaching the target and then the home base. He had to maintain a high level of concentration for virtually the whole of the flight, which could be up to 7 hours. But he was also responsible for aiming and releasing the bombs with the help of a special device, the so-called bombsight. He took control of the aircraft when it was on its bombing run. He would lie flat in the nose of the aircraft, directing the pilot until the bombs were released and the bombing photograph was taken. The photograph was the proof that the operation had been completed, which meant the crew could count it towards their total number of operations carried out. The Carl Zeiss Lotfernrohr 7 or Lot 7 was the primary series of bombsights used in most Luftwaffe-level bombers, similar to the United States Norden bombsight, but much simpler to operate and maintain. Several models were produced and eventually completely replaced the earlier bombsights. In the Lot 7, a set of gyroscopes provided a stabilized platform for the bombardier to sight through, although the more complex interaction between the bombsight and autopilot of the Norden was not used. The Lot 7 was dramatically simpler, consisting of a single metal box containing the vast majority of the mechanism, with a tube extending out the bottom with a mirror that reflected the image of the target into a small telescope in the box. The mechanisms within combined the functions of the Norden stabilizer and optics, moving the mirror to stabilize the image as well as tracking the target. The controls were likewise much simpler than the Nordens, consisting primarily of 3 large knurled knobs to adjust aim. Operation was fairly similar to the Norden. The bombardier would first locate the target in the bombsight and continue to adjust the dials until it remained motionless in the eyepiece. This allowed the bombsight to calculate the wind speed from the cancelled-out drift rate, which in turn allowed to make an accurate calculation of ground speed. Unlike the Norden, the Lot 7 could view targets directly in front of the aircraft, so the bombardier could use the real target for adjustments, rather than having to tune the instruments on a test target located closer to the aircraft. On final approach, the autopilot was engaged, while the bombsight adjusted the flight path in response to last-minute changes by the bombardier. Bomb release was normally automatic in order to reduce timing errors. The Lot 7 was normally installed near the nose of the aircraft with the mirror tube projecting through the fuselage to the outside of the aircraft. In most installations, like those in the Junkers Ju-88 or Heinkel He-111, the tube ended in a fairing under the fuselage with a protruding flat window in front. In other cases, like the Arado AR-234, the tube was open to the air, mounted so the mirror window was almost flush with the fuselage line. In the case of the single-seat AR-234, the bombsight was difficult to access, so the autopilot was engaged first, allowing the pilot to remove the control yoke and access the bombsight. After the war, about 1,000 unused Lot 7s were found in the Zeiss factories and shipped to the Soviet Union. There was an attempt to use them in the B-25 Mitchell to replace the much more complex Norden, but the Lot 7 interacted badly with the Soviet-designed autopilot and the problems were never fixed. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and to make sure you don't miss my future work, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel and press the bell notification button. Thank you and see you in the next video.